So, the Hotel Plus update, pretty good. However, I see people having trouble with the entities, so let's run it down. Anyways, Rush is your first enemy in the game, the first common entity that players will encounter. Rush is pretty easy to counter. The ways to counter him, either hear his screaming, watch the lights flicker, or find another room within a hallway. Pretty easy to counter him. He can also be countered with a crucifix. Next entity is Screech. Screech only spawns in dark rooms, and he's pretty easy to counter once you figure out what he does. He'll go psst every time you hear him, so be sure to hear the psst sound. Next is Hide. Hide will essentially kick you out if you stay in a closet for too long. Now, to pass Rush, Screech, and Hide is definitely tricky. Screech can also be countered by the crucifix, because of course he does. Hide cannot be countered by the crucifix. And next is Timothy. Timothy will spawn in the drawers randomly. And Timothy will take away 5% of the player's health. So he's pretty easy to counter when you figure out that he can't even kill you. He's one of only 4 entities in the game that can't kill you. So, yeah. Next is Jack. Jack is just a jump scare entity that will randomly appear in the closets with a rare chance of finding him. And Jack is even harder to find in the update, so yeah, have a fun time getting the badge for him. And the next entity is Ambush. Ambush is essentially why I call Rush's distant cousin, as Ambush functions similarly to Rush. Ambush will have a distinct screaming sound and flicker the lights, but Ambush flickers the lights slightly faster than Rush. The thing that makes Ambush different from Rush is that Ambush will rebound through the same room up to 1 to 6 times, which is insane. So Ambush is pretty tricky to counter. Ambush simply just time when you get out of the closet and head back in. Ambush can also be countered by the crucifix, so yeah. Next entity is Glitch. So yeah, we get to Glitch. I hear fireworks. Next entity is Glitch. Glitch is pretty different. Glitch will only spawn in if the game detects that a door is unable to open. If a door opens and then closes, Glitch will spawn in and teleport the player past that door. Before, Glitch used to be a failsafe and a method for keeping players from getting behind. However, we'll discuss why Glitch was changed to be different. Glitch also acts as the game's failsafe, with Glitch teleporting players if the game fails to detect something working, allowing solo runs to still happen even if the game bugs out or the server is incredibly laggy and the game is pretty laggy right now with figure closets minigame. Next entity is Halt. Halt is quite my favorite entity, one of my favorites. Halt's gimmick is unique. He'll flicker the lights really fast, and when you reach Halt to the next door, you'll be teleported to a 2-room long corridor that you have to traverse. Halt will just creep behind and in front of the player when it turn around. But the ways to counter Halt can be countered by simply either moving backwards, turning around, but moving backwards is much safer due to the fact that you're not turning your camera backwards. Halt can also be countered by the crucifix, though Halt has a rare chance of spawning in the cycle. Hell, you could probably go for the whole game, and there's likely a chance that players might have not even encountered Halt or have beaten the game a few times and haven't even seen Halt throughout the game. He's a rare entity to come across. And the next entity is pretty similar. His name is Eyes. Eyes is an entity that also, like Halt, will randomly spawn. When Eyes spawns in, he'll be distinguished by a purple glow. Eyes can be countered by looking down, looking away, or with the crucifix. Eyes can also be countered if Rush spawns in and Rush basically opens the next door, effectively giving a knockout to Eyes. Eyes will also be countered by the crucifix, so it's pretty easy to figure out how to dodge him. Though eyes will chip away 10% of your health as you look at him. And he'll do this pretty fast, so it's recommended to not look at him, because he's very tricky to deal with. The next entity is what gave me pain and struggle, and it's Seek. Seek will spawn in between doors 30 to 40, and after door 50, Seek will show up again at doors 70 to 80, and he's pretty difficult. Seek will chase the player upon see multiple rooms with eyeballs popping in, and Seek's chase. The first time it's 2 corridors and two four-way intercourses with a hallway littered with broken chandeliers setting fire and hands coming out of the walls and ceilings, forcing you to dodge. The second version of the chase is harder, with it being with the first room being a 4-way corridor. While the first chase is 5 rooms, the second chase is 8 rooms. And Seek is fast, but there are ways to counter him. Seek can be countered with vitamins, and Seek can be countered if you simply know what you're doing and figure out where to go, and simply have quick reflexes. Seek's chase ultimately just boils down to get good and learn how to be quick on your toes. Seek can also be countered by the crucifix, but Seek will not be dragged down to hell. Rather, Seek will just be temporarily stunned, allowing you to get a freebie and essentially escape the dude. I recommend saving the crucifix for Seek's second chase, as it is much longer, and using the crucifix on Seek right as he's ready to reach the door use it earlier, will save you the pain and struggles from the four-way structures. And with vitamins, it makes it even more easier. So yeah, Seek is easy to counter. And here's hoping that Seek could probably get a different gameplay style when Floor 2 releases, when it releases, because who knows when that happens. Yeah. And now on to the final 4. Yay! And our final 5 is Figure. The Figure is the most unique entity in the game, with the most unique AI pathfinding, and the most unique gimmicks of all of them. Figure looks like a discount Demogorgon. Figure is blind, and his only way of knowing where the player is at is via echolocation, but through my time I realized that Figure is kind of stupid. If you're out in the open and you keep crouching and moving, Figure will just straight up not know where you are. The ways to counter Figure is to hide in the closets when he's close, and also to just crouch the whole time. If not, you're gonna be a sitting duck so that he can take you and eat you. No joke, that's his jump scare. Figure also has another mechanic, the heartbeat minigame. If Figure figures out that you're in a closet, go figure, then Figure will attempt to try to get you out of the closet. You need to keep your heartbeat in check, leading to a rhythm game that I swear to God is bugged due to the laggy servers. I don't know what it is, but the game will lag when the heartbeat minigame shows up, which isn't even that much going on. It's a blue filter with a heartbeat icon and some pieces of the heart icon you need to tap at the right time. Not a whole lot of stuff going on, but apparently the game lags so much at this point that it just doesn't even matter. Now, if Figure has 2 encounters, both incredibly different. Figure's first encounter hasn't changed much from the original release, as Figure's encounter requires you to go around a library collecting books. Once you get 8 books, you then have to solve a code. The code is on a piece of paper that links 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, to 5 different shapes. And with those shapes, you have to put in a code that has to be translated. If you have friends, this is great. If not, you're forced to suffer and try to figure it out yourself, which is fucking hard as hell because Figure will be patrolling every fucking minute. And our problem, Figure gets faster every book you obtain, and I think Figure has been buffed in the update to be slightly faster in it without with no books collected. And it's slightly faster. I don't know, is it just me, or is he slightly faster than before? Because before he was actually a bit easy to outwin, mostly because, you know, he wasn't all that fast. But Figure used to be a bit more broken, as Figure could detect you if you were standing while crouching. Because if you were crouching still, Figure would be somehow able to see you, which makes no sense and goes against all logic in the game's lore, as Figure is said to be blind. Yet before, Figure was able to see players and catch them while they were crouching, which makes completely no sense whatsoever and breaks the realism. And I'm thankful that this was fixed, because this made absolutely no sense. Now, after Figure comes the pre-run shop. So, yeah. We'll talk about the pre-run shop in a bit. Anyways, the next encounter with Figure is at door 100. Before, door 100 used to be connected to door 99, but now it's been completely redone. Door 100 being its own area with a long hallway that will eventually take you to the same factory breaker room area that used to be door 100. And once you open the gate, Figure will be smashing through ready to come at you. And this is where it's different. Rather than getting the breaker key already to get the breaker key, instead, now you must collect 10 energy boxes. And by collecting all 10 of them, you're able to power up the breaker, but also set fire to Figure, causing him to smash through a window. And somehow Figure gets the time to come back? How? I'll never understand that. But basically, how to counter Figure, crouch the whole time, and basically just keep your eyes on him. Figure will probably not detect the light source from you, since the areas they're going to be in are pretty dark, unless, you know, you have the entire area that Figure is patrolling all laid out in your head, or you drew a map. If that's the case, then mad lads to you. You're doing good. After fixing the breaker, Figure will start to chase after you one last time and get to the elevator, and congratulations, you beat the game. Or did you? Because it says to be continued, but honestly the game hasn't continued, so I'm wondering what happened. So that's Figure. Figure can also be countered by the crucifix, and Seek will be countered by the crucifix. But both Seek and Figure are the only two entities that are stunned by the crucifix. Figure will be stunned, and he'll simply nudge it off like it was nothing. Alright, on to the 3 new entities added to the update. Or 6? Anyways, the first new entity is Dupe. Dupe is a main game entity. Dupe will appear randomly whenever he feels like it. And Dupe's whole gimmick is that he'll pretend to be a fake door. That's about it. If you go to a dupe door, you'll be duped by a dupe. He's basically just a scary face that will rush at you, taking away a massive chunk of health at the process. The way to counter dupe is to simply remember the door numbers, and if it's a door with a lock on it, then the key will display the number, so it's pretty easy to figure out. Dupe will try to be clever, and dupe will even try to be free doors. So yeah, that's hard. Now, another way to counter dupe, simply if you get very close to the door, not too close to trigger the opening animation getting hurt by dupe. If you get close, you can hear grumbling from the other side of the fake door, knowing it's a fake. Dupe can also be countered by the crucifix, where you simply get to the fake door, open it, and shove the crucifix in there, and dupe proceeds to be taken by... The crucifix seems to do God knows what in there, and dupe is seemingly killed. And also the fake label falls off. Okay. Even the lock falls off if it's a locked door. So yeah, dupe is pretty easy. Dupe, rush, ambush can also kill dupe, as rush and ambush will speed to the correct door, basically giving up players a freebie. So yeah. Anyways, that's Dupe. The next monster is Snare. Snare is not really a monster, more of a trap entity. Snare will essentially pretend to be grass by door 90 and door 99. And if you get caught, you will essentially be stunned for a bit. Snare can also not kill you as far as I'm aware of. But yeah, there's nothing to counter Snare, so he's basically just unavoidable. You simply have to use a lighter or flashlight to seek around and see the grass. You know, people say go touch grass. You might want to touch all grasses except Snare, because no. The last entity of the main game is Void. Void is the replacement for Glitch, as Void will function just like Glitch before. Void will essentially act as a way to tell players to, make sure to stay with the group. Void is not really an entity, more or less just a manifestation of the Void, and he has no real model, or they don't have an official model. So yeah. Anyways, on to the A100 series of monsters. So A-60. A-60 essentially acts like Rush. A-60 will do a sound and rush through the room. Pretty simple. He cannot be countered by the crucifix. He can be countered by going inside closets, and that's about it. Next is A-120. A-120 will appear on the screen, and you have to stand perfectly still. Even the camera needs to be still. If not, A-120 will take a massive chunk of health. There's also a third A-entity. The third A-entity used to be A-200 before getting changed. This A-monster will essentially act like A-60 and will just be the A- version of Ambush, patrolling through the same room multiple times. So it's pretty easy to figure out. And that's it. That's a guide to every entity in the Roblox stores update. Hope this helps you, and hope you have a nice time. Oh yeah, there's 2 more entities to talk about. So, the second to last entity is Windows. Windows has a 1 in 600 chance of spawning, and Windows does nothing. You cannot interact with him, and Windows will just simply be outside of a window staring at you. And the last entity for real is Shadow. Shadow is an extremely rare entity, having a 1 in 2,000 chance per every round to spawn in. And when you counter Shadow, he'll flash the screen dark for a few seconds before going back to normal. It's unknown what Shadow is, and the game's files even seem to be confused on what to call it. But yeah, there you go. Now that's every entity covered. Next time, I'll go over the secrets, the rift, the A rooms, and finally a secret tablet item. So prepare for that. I'll also be covering the achievements later on. So yeah, prepare yourself. Bye.